Right, we are now down at the start for the Senior Cox Fours, Tideway Scholars School and Merrimack College from the United States of America. And these crews are waiting for the off.
So this will be the first that we've seen of the Senior Cox Fours today. I don't think they have raced yet this morning. So it'll be good to see what standard we'll see from these qualifying heats, who will go through to tomorrow's racing. So this is race 167. And they're just aligning now.
Yeah, we saw a slight delay yesterday when there was a little bit of debris on the course, so the safety boat went out and collected it. So they're just waiting for those single scullers to clear the course. The regatta, like other well-known regattas on this reach, runs to time. The whole army of volunteers make sure that the thing runs like clockwork, and the hand goes up in the air, just asking them. So they're at the ready there. They're going to take the strain, just tapping it slightly, listening to their coxes. And they are off. Scullers nearest to us, the Americans over on the far side. And this is a heat of the Senior Cox Fours, Tideway Scullers School from the United Kingdom on this side, and Merrimack College from the United States of America on the far side. At the top of the island, who's got that?
Oh, it's quite tight. I think from the view that we've got at the moment, potentially Tideway Scullers. I could be quite wrong. It's always so hard to tell. I think if we, potentially when we see them from behind, from the bow balls coming towards us, once that camera shifts, we'll get a little bit of a clearer idea of who's in front.
This for the Frank v. Harry Cup. The sponsors, Gardner, Leader, and
they're still quite tight.
Yeah, this is a good tight race, this one, isn't it? Yeah, Senior Cox Fours.
I think if I was to call it right now, I think it's the crew from the US that potentially just have a nose in the front. So that's the crew from Merrimack College, USA. But do you know what?
I don't think so. Ooh. I am sorry, but I think if you look at the blades go in now.
You could be. That's very true. Very true.
And now, who used to say that? Somebody used to say that. Now, Bruce Granger. That was it. Yes. And as they cross me, Tideway Scullers now, and the Americans now. And you got to work out how far that is, right? Ridiculous. But I loved it. I just thought it was. I thought it was rather fun.
That's a good way of sort of, depicting what you're seeing on the screen, because I think with the camera angles it can always be quite hard.
The camera angles are a bit difficult. Anyway, Scullers have got their noses in front. So the Americans. I don't know if this is a theory, but somebody said to me, you don't jump on a plane, come over here, spend all that money if you're no good.
No.
You've got to be a bit good.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've got a few American crews over here, and I think the quality has been fantastic.
Having said that, some go out early, and that's just bad luck. First race of Regatta, one of the Americans, that was it. However, this is looking at the moment as if it is going the way of Tideway Scullers. Talking to Alison Mowbray yesterday, she said, a great tradition of sculling, particularly, women's sculling there down on the Tideway. Different styles here. Look, the Americans look to be, how do you put this, a bit more brutal. They're smashing it.
They're very fast up the slide as well. It's all about getting in for the next stroke, I think, with that crew on the far side.
Whereas the crew on the near side, you'd have to say, are squeezing more out of the stroke. Bit of time, squeeze. Bit of time, squeeze. Crew on the far side, the Americans, it's bash, bash, bash.
Yeah, and I think if we were to look at the ratings as well of both of these crews, if we look at Tideway Scullers crew a little bit more relaxed.
Well, they've got just about clear water there. We can see where we're sat on about the halfway line that they have just about a length now over the Americans, and they've got a more efficient stroke, would you not say?
Tideway Scullers are up at 35, and from watching the live stream, from sort of seeing the images we're seeing, and they've just rode past us here in the commentary box, I wouldn't have called them being up that high when you look at them in comparison to the crew for the USA, who, if you told me that they were up at 35, 36, I'd say absolutely. Just with that pure speed up the slide, I wouldn't be surprised if they're striking up in the sort of 37s, 38s. I'm clocking them here at 38 and a half.
Yeah. Well, you can see from these images here, when the blades go in, they are flying up and down the slide, but it's not making the boat go any faster. Interesting.
No, absolutely. They've not let Tideway Scullers get too far away from them. I think they're that couple of pips higher. Tideway Scullers are really making the most of the blade in water.
It's still just over a length there, so if they're going to do something and remain in this event, our American friends have got to do something now.
But I don't know where they're going to get that from, actually, in all honesty, Martin, because when you're already up at 38,
and they don't want to ping up,
have somewhere to go.
They don't want to ping up and down any quicker, do they?
Whereas Tideway Scullers, if they were to raise the rate, they're sat at their nice 35 now. If they do take it up through the rates in the last couple of 100 metres, they actually have somewhere to step on too, which would be a fantastic race from them. I think a really good race profile to take them through into the latter stages, and I think they should be really confident with that performance.
So Tideway Scullers School look to be moving away still further than that one length as they come into the closing stages. The next heat of this, the senior Cox Fours, is on the course. It's Newcastle University against Molesey Boat Club.
I think we're in for a good race here between these two crews. Both extremely good programmes at both of these. One club rowing programme, one university rowing programme. Of course, we saw Newcastle go through earlier today in the senior women's eights. These four girls raced in this combination at the British University Champs, did very well and medalled in that combination. They've got a couple of athletes in there who have been part of their sort of championship 8 as well all season that has performed extremely well. And as we mentioned earlier, they went on to win the overall Victor Ladorum at the British University Champs. So, some really good quality athletes and a really broad span of athletes, lots of depth. Whereas Molesey Boat Club have a very, very good programme, but, a very limited number of athletes in the women's section. They've got, a smaller programme, I'd say, than Newcastle, but the athletes that they do have are extremely strong, extremely well trained, and, they are a force to be reckoned with, I think, down here in the south. And these two won't have faced each other very much throughout the season. They would have been competing at very different regattas and very different races from the northeast down to the south down here in sort of the wider London area. And as it stands at the moment, it's proving to be quite a tight race.
Well, I don't know that those Molesey girls are not students, but it's definitely a club against students from a university. So let's assume that the Molesey girls are working lasses and the Newcastle girls are students. It looks like Molesey just have the edge at the moment as they're moving through.
I think you're absolutely right.
That's impressive. Yeah. Saw these race yesterday, and they progressed through to today. Molesey, they've got a lead there of just over a length, and they're coming up now to us on the halfway mark, and they pass the window, and it is just over a length. So Newcastle, if they want to get back into this, they better give it a bit of a push. They don't look to be in a hurry with that rate, though, do they, of getting back on terms?
Absolutely not. But, Molesey aren't rating too high. I think that, they're probably matching Molesey stroke for stroke, but Molesey's just getting that little bit more from it. And, of course, Molesey Boat Club won the Frank v Harry Cup in this event back in 2013. So they've got history in the event. They always produce quite a good Cox 4 or a quadruple scull. They always seem to have 4 very good girls who go on to produce extremely good results. I think they actually went on to possibly win the quadruple sculls event last year or the year before. Obviously this year they've opted for the 4, and it seems to have gone well for them. So, an impressive crew.
Yeah, and they're moving down there. Right, senior Cox 4s. America and the Brits. Princeton University for the United States of America on the near side, on the Berkshire station, and on the Buckinghamshire station, it's University of London, UL. So, Princeton UL, wow. That sounds like a recipe for a final, doesn't it?
Does
to be honest with you.
The Tigers, the Princeton Tigers, is it not?
Yeah, and here they go. So they're well apart. I mean, they couldn't get any further apart on that course. But I think it's probably University of London from that angle. It's difficult to see.
I think you're right.
What we would like to know who's winning, but
look at the backsplash that the University of London are getting when they enter the blades and swords. That just that nice little chop that they've got, really putting the blades in on the way forward, getting the most leverage that they can get. And off the start, that is hard when you're up at a high rating.
Well, they're both still rating high. It looks like University of London have got an advantage here at this stage.
What a catch that University of London crew's got. Really sharp, really well together. And I think, they're just that little bit more urgent about it than the crew from Princeton.
Well, it looks very, very punchy. Whatever they're doing is very effective, because they've managed to get a lead here of almost a length and a half over Princeton. Princeton are staying very, very close to the booms on this side. Thinking, I presume that they're going to be staying out the stream. However, it's University of London that are ploughing their way down this 1,500 metre course, and they've got a lead now of just over a length and a quarter, as the University of London crew on the left of your screen there, punching their way down. Yeah, that's impressive. So there's some competition in this event, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And for such an open event as well, we've seen a couple of really good university crews. And in fact, the majority of the crews in the Senior 4s event are university, which I think is interesting, but also really good. A really good sign for the calibre of university rowing in this country is that, a lot of universities feel that they can enter this open category and be competitive against some of the clubs. The University of London, of course, won the women's Victor Durham at the British University Champs. They've got a really good squad this year. They entered an elite pair here this weekend as well. So I think they're in a really good place. And, I think that's an extremely good quality crew, very strong. And I suspect we shall see them in the latter stages later on today.
Well, we've had 169 races here. We had 69 yesterday. We've had 100 races today. It's been some fantastic racing, and the Americans here giving it a bit of a go. They're trying desperately to get back on terms, but there's still clear water between the two crews as they move away from the enclosure and the boating area. It's University of London on the far side. The umpire had nothing to do here really. They stayed well away from each other, which is not a bad tactic. And as they move away now towards the finish, it is University of London that look like they're going to progress through to the next round. We can see that the next race is underway and moving their way down through. So we've got a composite here of...
In fact, it's Durham University, Durham Amateur Rowing Club in Chester Street. So the powerhouse of the Northeast is what I would call it here on this station.
How did I know we were going to get Durham?
And you know what? This is going to be a very interesting race for me, because I also know the people in the Trentham crew. So I'm torn, and there is one girl in the Trentham crew who's actually a Durham alumni, Rebecca Dell, who has gone back to race with her former club in Trentham. She's graduating this year, and she'll probably be looking across at that Durham University boat and Durham composite, and will have the bit between her teeth. I'm sure it'll be It will be funny for them to have sat on the start line next to each other, I'm sure.
So who's going to win?
It's got to be the Durham composite, surely.
Durham composite, yeah. You're just about to put your blazer back on. Yeah, they are ahead at the top of the island.
And I would like to point out as well that the composite with the Durham Amateur Rowing Club and Chester Street girls,
Yes.
they're actually junior. They're junior women from those two clubs. So the composite actually from Chester Street Durham Amateur Rowing Club. Those two clubs have actually provided very up and coming junior athletes to take part in this composite. Kira Rosamold, who's in that crew, the women's captain for Durham University this year, she's stroking that crew, and they seem to be getting on pretty well.
Been together a while, or?
I mean, not too long. Obviously, the two students in that crew will have been racing all season together, but the two junior athletes, obviously couldn't take part in the British University Champs and haven't been training with the squad very long. So they did come together with Durham University to race at the British Championships back in October at Nottingham. They did a very good job then. They won the under-19s double sculls, representing the northeastern region, and I think they'll be extremely exciting prospective athletes for the future, whoever they go on to represent. So a really exciting group of girls here, I think, in this Durham composite, Northeastern, Chester Street, Durham Amateur Rowing Club, Durham University composite, but I will just call them the Northeast composite for ease of sake of ease.
Yeah, there's a Leander double there, all smiles, looking to cross the river, and as they look to their right, they can see the girls from the northeast just knocking it along there. I mean, they're not really racing now, are they? They've got a lead, and they're just pushing those puddles away. So lots to look forward to here in the senior Cox Fours, with the crews going through earlier today: Molesey, University of London, and of course we saw Tideway Scullers overcome Merrimack a little earlier on. The girls from Durham heading now past Fawley Court and down towards the finish, and that is a very good lead indeed. Okay, at the start we have the next rate. This is Elite Double Sculls, Wallingford Rowing Club up against an Oxford Brooks